Welcome to Lead and Inspire with Mr. Hutchings, the podcast where we share real-world insights and proven strategies to help educators grow, lead, and thrive in our schools. I'm your host, Mr. Hutchings, and in every episode we'll tackle key issues in the school community and explore practical ways to make a positive impact. Whether you're a teacher, teacher leader, or school administrator, this podcast is all about supporting one another as we work towards strengthening our schools. Today, we're diving into a critical topic, supporting struggling teachers, a leader's role in growth and development. We'll explore how to foster a culture of mentorship, create impactful professional development, and guide struggling teachers towards success. Let's get started. Supporting struggling teachers, a leader's role in growth and development. Not every teacher thrives immediately. Maybe it's a first-year science teacher who has a deep passion for their subject but struggles to keep students engaged. Perhaps it's a veteran foreign language teacher who is feeling disconnected from today's tech-savvy learners. Or it could be a history teacher whose students are disengaged because their lessons rely too much on lectures and textbooks instead of discussions and analysis. As a department head, your role is not to criticize or micromanage, but to mentor, support, and help teachers find their strengths. When teachers grow, students benefit, and their department thrives. Here's a story about turning things around for a struggling teacher. Let's talk about Mrs. Patel, a passionate but struggling math teacher in her second year. She knows her content inside and out, but her Algebra 1 students seem disengaged and restless. She's losing control of classroom discussions, assignments go unfinished, and her confidence is starting to crumble. When students begin voicing their frustrations and a few parents email concerns, you, as department head, step in. But instead of issuing a warning, you start with observation. You sit in on her lesson, not to evaluate, but to see where the challenges lie. You notice that she relies heavily on traditional lecture-based teaching without enough student interaction. You see that when students ask questions, she rushes through answers rather than checking for deeper understanding. You realize classroom engagement strategies are where she needs help. Instead of pointing out what isn't working, you offer solutions. Solution 1. Pair her with a mentor. You connect Mrs. Patel with Mr. Rodriguez, a veteran math teacher who excels in student engagement. Mr. Rodriguez invites her to observe his class, where he uses whiteboard races, partner quizzes, and real-world math challenges to keep students involved. Afterward, they debrief together and she leaves with new strategies to try. Solution number 2. Professional development, but make it practical. Instead of sending her to a generic PD session, you recommend one focused on active learning strategies for math teachers. You introduce her to technology tools like Desmos and Kahoot to make lessons more interactive. Solution number 3. Small changes, big impact. She starts by adding one strategy per week. First, using collaborative problem solving, then incorporating more student-led discussions. Over time, her confidence grows and students respond positively. The next observation, a completely different classroom dynamic. Mrs. Patel, once on the verge of burning out, is now energized and excited to teach again, all because she has been supported and not punished. So if you're a leader, strategy number 1, observe without judgment. The best way to help struggling teachers is to see what's actually happening in the classroom, but make it clear that your goal is to help, not evaluate. Schedule a classroom visit and tell the teacher, I want to see what's working and what might need some support. Take notes on teaching strategies, student engagement, and classroom management. Focus on the strengths first. Before offering suggestions, acknowledge what the teacher is already doing well. What not to do. Do not walk in with a clipboard and immediately start critiquing. Do not send vague feedback like, you need to engage students more. Instead, offer specific ideas for improvement. Instead of saying your students aren't engaged, say, I noticed students became more engaged when you used real-world math problems. Let's build on that. Strategy number 2. Create a culture of peer mentorship. Often the best support doesn't come from administration, it comes from colleagues. Pair struggling teachers with mentors who are strong in the areas they need help with. A history teacher who struggles with class discussions can shadow a government teacher who excels in Socratic seminars. An English teacher who has trouble with grading efficiency can meet with a colleague who uses time-saving rubrics. A science teacher who struggles with lab management can work with another teacher who runs labs smoothly. An example could be an English department who launches a peer observation program where teachers visit each other's classes once a semester to trade strategies. The result? Teachers learn from each other in a low-pressure environment, and struggling teachers get real classroom-tested advice. Strategy number 3, professional development that actually helps. Most struggling teachers aren't lacking content knowledge. They need practical teaching strategies. The fix? Targeted, relevant PD. Offer workshops on classroom management, engagement techniques, or tech tools. Encourage collaborative lesson planning so struggling teachers can see how experienced colleagues structure lessons. Bring in guest educators who specialize in high-energy, interactive teaching. Here's an example. Instead of sending teachers to a generic how to improve instruction session, your school invites a specialist in active learning to demonstrate strategies that teacher can apply the next day. Strategy number 4, start small, one change at a time. A struggling teacher won't fix everything overnight. Instead of overwhelming them, help them make small, manageable changes. The one new strategy rule. Encourage teachers to try one new strategy per week and reflect on its impact. As some examples, a veteran foreign language teacher who feels disconnected from students starts by incorporating one digital tool into lessons, like Flipgrid for video responses. A first-year teacher struggling with behavior management tries one new engagement strategy, like call and response techniques, to keep students focused. Why this works? Small changes lead to quick wins, which build confidence. Strategy number 5, build a culture of growth, not fear. Teachers, especially new ones, fear being labeled as bad teachers, but struggling isn't failing, it's part of learning. A supportive culture means mistakes are seen as opportunities to grow, not punishable offenses. Teachers feel safe asking for help instead of hiding struggles. Leaders normalize professional learning. Everyone, even veteran teachers, continues to improve. An example, at your next department meeting, you share a personal story about a teaching challenge you once faced and how you overcame it. This normalizes struggle and growth and encourages teachers to seek help without fear of judgment. So our final takeaway, every teacher can grow. A struggling teacher is not a lost cause. They're a work in progress. With the right mentorship, targeted PD, and a culture of support, teachers can turn things around, just like Mrs. Patel did. As a department head, you have the power to make that happen. And that's a wrap for today's episode of Lead and Inspire with Mr. Hutchings. Remember, every teacher has the potential to grow, and as leaders, it's our job to support them through their journey by mentoring, providing targeted professional development, and fostering a culture of growth. We can help every teacher become the best they can be. If you found today's episode valuable, don't forget to subscribe, share with your colleagues, and leave a review. Thanks for tuning in, and keep leading, learning, and supporting your teams. Until next time, I'm Mr. Hutchings. Stay inspired and keep making a difference.